Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Our Home Ground. We have so much to cover today. I hope you watched the last episode that I did with Allison and Laura. It was so much fun to record. It was just like a fun little silly episode. But I got to be with them in real life, and that was my first time recording with anybody in real life and not both on like Zoom. So that was really exciting, and I hope you listened to it and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't, then highly suggest that you go back and do that. If you did listen to that, you'll know that we recorded that episode right before going to watch the NWSL Championship game. We got to watch that together, which was so exciting for me because I watched so many games by myself, but I got to watch it with two of my favorite people to talk about football with, which is so fun. And we got to watch it in a women's sports bar in Chicago. We went to Babes. Highly suggest going there. It was a really fun time. So, yeah. I do want to talk about the NWSL Championship itself because it was a great game. So Gotham was playing Washington Spirit. They were playing out in San Jose, California at a neutral site, and Gotham won the championship 1-0. That was so exciting. Rose Lavelle scored a goal in like the 80th minute. It's just Rose Lavelle from the top of the box with her left foot. Like, it was just so pretty and so exciting. And she's had a rough year. She like missed the beginning part of the season because she had to have like ankle surgery. So to see her back doing Rose Lavelle type stuff was just so fun and so exciting. And Allison's a big Gotham fan. So that was fun. Really, we're all just big Emily Sonnett fans. And by we're all, I mean, me and Allison are big Emily Sonnett fans. And so we're cheering for Gotham. She's a Gotham fan. I'm just an Emily Sonnett fan. Anyways, I have made so many notes about this episode because I need to keep myself on track because we have so much to get through. So, we're going to start with the NWSL Championship and then we'll talk about the international window that is coming to a close or will be done by the time this episode comes out. I'm recording this on Tuesday at like 6 p.m. Eastern time. It needs to release in like, I don't know, 14 hours or something. So, I'm like cramming it in, but it was Thanksgiving week here. I didn't want to record another episode while I was with my family. And then I just wanted to wait until the Tuesday games. So here we are. Anyways, let's get back to talking about the things. So, some of my favorite moments from the NWSL Championship. I could talk a lot about the like soccer of it all, but that's not why we're here. There are way better people to do that than me. So I'm just going to talk about some of my favorite moments. And they're all sort of like post game. The only soccer thing I do want to say is Emily Sonnett had this crazy stop where she like literally threw her body on the line. That was so cool and fun and incredible. So go watch the highlights. You'll see that. It was awesome. Go Emily Sonnett. Okay. So favorite moments from sort of like after. I love a championship. I love championship celebrations. It's one of my favorite parts of sport. And so I get to talk about two of them today. So I'm very excited. We'll talk about this one a little bit more in depth than the one that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But first thing that I loved was Rose Lavelle and the fireball shot. So Rose came on Sam Mewis's Women's Game podcast. They did a live recording in like championship weekend, and Rose Lavelle was one of the guests that came, and she shared this story about how it's more than one story, but this sort of like idea that her family has started sneaking fireball shots into like everywhere that they go. Apparently, this started when she was at Wisconsin and they used to bring them in and then they would take a shot when she scored. This has sort of like snowballed and now they'll take a shot like anytime. It doesn't seem to take a lot of convincing from what she was saying. You can go listen to that whole thing on the podcast. But after the game, she was given a fireball shot on the field and she just like absolutely crushed it. And so I really, really loved that. And it was just so funny because it became kind of like a thing about the weekend. Gotham, maybe it wasn't Gotham who posted it, but I think it ended up being like shared with Gotham. This edited picture of Rose with her hands like both out. I think it was after she celebrated the goal. And then they photoshopped two of the fireball shooters on them. Like, it was just funny, became like a whole thing. And then she took a fireball shot on the field, which go Rose. Like, do your thing, girl. You just won the championship. In this little Rose section, I do want to give a shout out, honorable mention to Sam Mewis's celebration after Rose scored. There's the women's game posted a little video of Sam just like standing and clapping and just being so excited that Rose scored because they're best friends. And I just love that kind of stuff. So very, very cute. So honorable mention there. The next thing that I want to talk about is really just a person and kind of all of the things that she was doing post game and sort of like throughout championship weekend. And that's Kelly O'Hara. If you've listened to previous episodes, I'm a big Kelly O'Hara fan. And I love that she's in like punditry now. Is that even what we call it in the US? That's what they call it in England. But she's like, I don't know. She's in punditry. That's what we're gonna go with. Um, but the thing about Kelly O'Hara is Gotham was the last team that she played with. She retired with Gotham, won the championship with them in 2023, then played through the 2024 season, but was like injured. Anyways, retired. But previously, she had won an NWSL championship with the Washington Spirit. So the fact that these two teams were playing each other were like two of Kelly's like favorite teams that she ever played for. Both had very, very special places in her heart. And so in the buildup, people were asking her, like, who are you going to cheer for? We do know that Emily Sonnett and Rose Lavelle are two of her best friends. It would seem like she would choose Gotham, in my opinion. But she was like, honestly, I just want both teams to have a good game, whatever. She's also really close with Trinity Rodman and a lot of the other girls that are on Washington Spirits. So there was just this running joke that whoever got to win the championship got to have Kelly. And that was like a thing. And so there's like a funny post of Kelly that Gotham put up after the game where she's like, well, Gotham, you got me. So that was really exciting. And then on the live broadcast after Gotham had won, Kelly shotgunned a beer with one of the owners of Gotham and Darian Jenkins. And I think one of the other girls tried to shotgun too, but it just like kind of went tragically for her. Kelly O'Hara, girl knows how to shotgun a beer. Not at all surprised by that fact at all. But wow, that was very, very impressive. And the fact that she did it on like live television, I love that for her. I love that we're just like letting these women do this and encouraging them to do this because this kind of stuff happens in men's sport all the time, but I feel like we've been much more reluctant to have it in the women's game. And so I just love it. I love everything about it. My last favorite moment of Kelly O'Hara was again on live television. She's holding the CBS mic. She's just running down the field saying, has anybody seen Rose Lavelle? Because she was going to go like interview her / celebrate with her really good friend. And then when she did find her, Kelly had a beer in her hand. It had been poured into a glass. And she was like, Rose, do you want to chug this beer with me? And Rose was like, right now? And Kelly was like, yeah. And Rose was like, well, I just took a fireball shot. And she was like, well, do you want to do another? And Rose was like, fireball? And Kelly was like, whatever. And Rose was like, later. Like she had things that she needed to do. I also should mention, since we did a whole Roosevelt segment, she was MVP of the NWSL Championship. And so that was really great and really special for her. So loved that. And then her celebrating with Kelly and all the things. It's so good. Like the amount of content that we got out of this was everything to me. And I really, really appreciated it. Next thing is we need to take a moment for Megan Rapinoe's wig. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're welcome because now you're going to go down this rabbit hole of Megan Rapinoe's wig, and it's the funniest thing I've seen in a really long time. Megan showed up to this game in a neon pink bobbed wig, and it had like micro bangs, and that in itself was like iconic. I'm talking like neon pink, like brighter than any hair Megan Rapinoe has ever even gotten close to. So it was so iconic. She had on these like tiny sunglasses. She looked so cool with this like micro bang bob hot pink wig. But then she passed the wig around post game. So she was wearing the wig the whole game. And then she saw Rose Lavelle. She was on the field after the game. She saw Rose Lavelle and like put it on her and was like, it's a championship wig. So there are these really funny pictures of Rose with her hair, she had her hair like in a bun at the end of the game or after the game with the wig like on top of it. So it's like not even on her head. So funny. But then at the end of the game, this photo surfaced, and it might be my favorite picture of all time. And I think Jaden Shaw agrees. This picture of Emma Hayes. Yes, Emma Hayes, the esteemed Chelsea coach for 12 years, the current coach of the U.S. women's national team, Emma Hayes, she had the wig on. And in this photo, to make it even more iconic, Emma Hayes with the wig is standing in between Michelle Kang, the owner of the Washington Spirit, Lyon, London City Lionesses, and Megan Rapinoe. Like three iconic people in their own right. And then Emma Hayes had this wig like on with her hair under it and her face. It's so funny. And then we'll get to US Women's National Team in a minute, but Jaden Shaw like literally made that picture her phone background. And I think that's so funny. She showed up to camp with it like that. Really, really iconic. So the wig then also got passed around the after party. Megan Rapinoe was there. So many former U.S. Women's National Team players were there. Megan Rapinoe and her wife or fiance. I actually don't know if they're really married yet. Whatever. They were there. Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe. There's a whole photo shoot that Sue Bird posted of her in the bathroom with like Megan Rapinoe's wig on. Jaden Shaw put the wig on. That then became Emma Hayes' background after Emma Hayes saw that Jaden had the picture of her as her background. So funny. And then none other than Alyssa Nair put on Megan Rapinoe's hot pink wig. Funniest thing ever. I'm sure I'm missing some of the people because I'm telling you, this wig was passed to everyone. And it's just like, of course, Megan Rapinoe like brought a wig and wore it and then like passed it to everyone. Like, it's just so on brand. And I love it so much. This is the kind of stuff that I personally live for. So there's the moment for Megan Rapinoe's wig. The other person who I just mentioned who we have to talk about is Jaden Shaw. She plays for Gotham, but the year that she has had is absolutely incredible. She had gone from San Diego to North Carolina, and then when she was at North Carolina, she was not getting any minutes. She like essentially got benched. Seems like they didn't really know what to do with her in their system. She and Ashley Sanchez played like a similar role for them, but Ashley Sanchez had already been there, and so she really wasn't getting any minutes. And then towards the very end of the season, like pretty near when the transfer window was going to close, Gotham paid $1.25 million transfer fee to get Jaden Shaw to Gotham. And she just folded into this Gotham team like she had been there all along. It was actually unreal. She scored the winning goal in the semifinal to get them to the final, which is so incredibly iconic. And then, as if that wasn't enough, she turned 21 2 days before the final. So the final was on Saturday. Her birthday was on Thursday. So she celebrated her 21st birthday at the after party, well, probably in the locker room first or on the field, maybe even with a beer or a fireball shot or who knows what, champagne, then in the locker room with the Gotham team and then at the Gotham after party. Like that, there's not a more iconic 21st birthday celebration I can think of. And how convenient that she turned 21 2 days before. Like, perfect timing, Jaden. So, really, really loved that for her. Just the arc of her year. It's very much giving like Chloe Kelly, if you're familiar with her. 2025, Jaden's is like quite similar. So, yeah, very, very exciting for her. Other person I want to talk about is Jess freaking Carter. What a year this girl has had. She is the first ever NWSL player to win the European Championship and the NWSL Championship in the same year. She's actually the first player ever to win a US Championship and a European Championship in the same year. So cool. Go on, Jess. And especially considering that she had such a difficult Euros with all of the abuse, racist online abuse that she was receiving. She spoke out about it. She was very much supported by her England teammates, she says. And so tough Euros, European champion. Then she decided not to go back to London with the girls and do the like open top bus tour and all of those kinds of things. Instead, she went straight back to New York and she said she just wanted to get back to Gotham and get back to that team, which I think speaks a lot to like how much she loves that team. And then they went on to win the NWSL Championship, and she was not in the England camp this international window. I'm not exactly sure why. I would assume that it was she elected not to be. I didn't ever see any comment on that from Serena. I'm sure somebody asked. I just never saw it. But she was not in with England. So I hope and I pray that she celebrated her heart out because she deserves it. What a year. European champion, NWSL champion, like just fantastic. And through all the adversity and all of it, like I just I think she's the coolest and I hope that she enjoyed every single moment. I hope she took a moment to just like let it all sink in and just loves it. And then related to this, I've talked about this before, Jess Carter's fiance, Ann Katrin Berger, is the goalie for Gotham and for Germany and did have to go to international camp because they were playing in the Nations League final, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So she didn't get to have all of that celebration necessarily that Jess got to have, or I'm hoping Jess got to have. But I saw the most iconic tweet, and it was a picture of these two women together, I think from the open top bus tour, and it said, redefining what trophy wives means. Are you kidding me? I couldn't love it more. I genuinely could not love it anymore. Whoever did that, Gotham themselves might have posted it. I genuinely don't know. Sorry, I should give credit to whoever it is because it's genius and I'm obsessed with it. That is so smart and I love it so much. So there's that. Finally, the last person I want to talk about is, of course, Emily Sonnett. I said at this top of this that I'm a huge Emily Sonnett fan. But Emily Sonnett joins Lynn Biondolo by becoming the second player ever to start and play all 90 minutes of 5 NWSL championships. 5 started and played all 90 minutes. That's so many. That's so cool. That's actually so impressive. Emily Sonnett is a natural born winner. She's first on my team sheet every single time. There are probably so many other moments that I'm missing, but that's all I'm going to say for now because, like I said, there are other things I want to talk about, other things going on in the women's game. So we'll pause on the club soccer and we'll switch over to the international window. And I'm going to start by talking about the U.S. women's national team. They played Italy twice. Italy currently is the number 12th ranked team in the world, and the U.S. women's national team is second. Reportedly, Emma Hayes had them like circled as wanting to play them this year because they've given some really big teams, really good, traditionally good teams, kind of like a run for their money or some trouble in different ways. And then they also made it to the Euros semifinal, and they were 1 minute away from beating England. It was crazy. I was at that game. Yes, that is a flex. I will tell everybody that I know that I was at that game forever. And Michelle Adjumang, love that girl. She scored in the 6th minute of stoppage time out of 7 minutes. So she scored in like 90 plus 6, and they were only supposed to play 90 plus 7 to tie it, send it to extra time. And then Chloe Kelly took a penalty. The goalie saved it, but it rebounded directly back, and she went ahead and finished it. So then they scored, and England ended up winning 2-1. But they were like 1 minute away from going to the Euros final. So all of that to say, Italy is a very good team. I think there's a lot of criticism often that the U.S. women's national team isn't playing difficult enough friendlies. I think this is a more complex conversation in which European teams can't play friendlies often with this new Nations League format. There's just too many competitive games, so they don't get a chance to play true, just like friendlies that don't count, that can allow them to try some different things, try new players, try new formations, anything of that nature. Like everything is for something else. So Italy got to play friendlies and they played the U.S. women's national team, which, like, that's really difficult competition, but it's also really was supposed to be very difficult competition for the U.S. women's national team. So the U.S. women's national team beat Italy 3-0 the first game and then 2-0 the second game. Honestly, the U.S. women's national team made this team look average, and I was very happy to see that because I feel like that hasn't been the case lately with the U.S. women's national team. They lost to Portugal in the last window, the first time they played them, and Portugal's a good team as well. So just good to see the U.S. women's national team sort of back doing their thing. I'm not sorry that I'm a U.S. women's national team fan. I know some of you who listen to this podcast are my friends and are annoyed that I am a U.S. women's national team fan, and I don't really care. It's so fun to be a U.S. women's national team fan. And this camp's roster was interesting. So there's still no triple espresso. Trinity, although she did get a few minutes back in the semifinal and the final of the NWSL playoff, she is not like full match fit. And so Emma Hayes said that she wanted to not call her into camp. She's not ready to be doing the kind of things that they were going to be doing in camp. So she decided not to call her in. And then Sophia Wilson and Mal Swanson both just recently had babies. On that note, Sophia Wilson was at the game on Monday night, the second game in Fort Lauderdale, with her daughter, Gigi. She brought her to like meet the team. And there was some really, really cute content that came out of that. She posted on her story. It was a picture of Sophia Wilson, Gigi, Naomi Girma, Emily Sonnett, Lindsay Heaps, and Rose Lavelle, saying that Gigi was meeting all of her aunties, and it was so cute. And then There was a cute little video of Emma Hayes dancing to Shake It Off while she was holding Gigi before the game. And then Sophia Wilson posted a dump yesterday, when this podcast comes out, whatever. And the last picture in it is Lindsay Heaps holding Gigi. Very, very cute. It was cute to see Naomi Girma and Sophia Wilson back together because they are best friends. And so there was just like a lot of cuteness going on with that. But none of Triple Espresso were playing in this camp. So I would also just like to say that I love so much that players, feel empowered to have babies in the middle of their career. Like Sophia Wilson was at such a high in her career, had like just won the Olympics, like living her best life, playing so well, had just come back from injury, and then she got married and she decided to have a baby. And I just think that's so cool. Alex Morgan did it and had Charlie. And just to have these women have children, Charlie and Gigi are both girls, but I don't think it matters the gender of the baby. But to have children and then be bringing them into this environment of these like strong women who are just pushing not only the sport, but like society forward in such a meaningful way, I think is just the coolest thing ever. And so I could not love it more. I think Gigi should be at every camp. I think Crystal Dunn used to bring Marcel as well when she was in camp. I think that's amazing for him to see these women as well. Like, I just love it. And so, anyways, that's that on the baby note. I love it. I love that they get to be surrounded by these incredible women who just like take up space and do all the things. Now, back to the roster. So, no triple espresso. Also, Fallon Joyce, who I think a lot of us thought was going to be the next U.S. Women's National Team goalkeeper, is not in camp because she has a facial fracture. I think it's like her eye socket fractured. So she could not come to camp. Interestingly, on this roster, it was a 26-person roster. So 3 goalies. Emma Hayes called up 10 defenders. That's an insane number of defenders. That only leaves 10 plus 3, 13. So half the team is goalies or defenders that she called in. And that just feels crazy to me, which leaves like 5 midfielders. 13. Whatever it is, 6.5 midfielders and forwards. Anyways, I've never seen her call up this many defenders. It was crazy. And I think part of that is because that left back position is one that, until quite recently, I would argue, seemed to be up for grabs. Crystal Dunn had played that role for a very long time. And Emma Hayes had said that she was planning on Crystal Dunn continuing to play that into this sort of like next cycle. But when she was asked about it again recently, she said, Crystal Dunn has played less than 300 minutes of club football in this calendar year. And so I can't call her into camp. She is not game ready. Those are not enough minutes for her to be getting called into camp. So Emma Hayes has been sort of forced to go look at other options. In this camp, 2 players got minutes at the left back, and that is Lily Reel out of Gotham and Kate Wiesner out Wiesner. Actually, I think it's Wiesner. That's how they're pronouncing it on the broadcast, at least. So that's what we're going to go with. Out of Washington Spirit. Lily Reel was NWSL Rookie of the Year and seems to be Emma Hayes' favored person in this position. She started the first game and played all 90. I think Kate Wiesner got like 6 minutes or something in the left back position. And then Kate started the second game, but came out in the like 65th-ish minute, whatever, that kind of time frame. And Lily Reel subbed in and played sort of meaningful minutes there. So that happened. We also saw Avery Patterson play the second half of the second game in the right back position, which is Emily Fox's position to lose. I don't think Emily Fox is in any position to lose it. I think they just wanted to see someone else and hopefully give Emily Fox some rest because she plays so many minutes for Arsenal and for the U.S. Women's National Team. So that's exciting. We saw some mix-up in the center back position, but the really exciting part is that Naomi Girma is back for the U.S. Women's National Team. She played a full 90 the first game, and then she played just the first half of the second game, and then again a rest situation because she's been going a full 90 for Chelsea as well. So just trying to manage minutes there and give other players experience. The first game she played alongside Emily Sonnett. And then the second game she played in the first half alongside Jordan Bugg, which is very exciting, I think, to see her getting some minutes there. Also worth noting, Tara McKeown was not in this camp. We believe it's related to the fact that she's getting married in like 2 weeks. She had her Bachelorette weekend, like this past weekend. She was posting about it on social media. So I think it's probably just like mental break, wedding. She's got stuff going on, and I really respect that. And I think that's so important to take time to do those things. So she wasn't in. So we got to see some like different people in the center back role that we haven't been seeing as much of. So that was really exciting. As far as midfield goes, we saw quite a few different players get some time, but Claire Hutton started both of those games. Seems to be really thriving under this Emma Hayes system. So that was really exciting. She started the first game as sort of like a double pivot with Sam Coffey. And then the second game, she really just played the six on her own and she got to start alongside Lindsay Heaps, which she was interviewed after the second game. And she was like, that was my first game I got to start next to Lindsay, who's the captain. And so that was really great. She taught me so much. I learned so much tonight. Like it was really, really exciting. So that was good. Kat Macario, oh my word. She cannot stop creating chances, scoring goals. She is flying right now. And as a U.S. Women's National Team fan, I love that. As a Chelsea fan, or not, whoa, as an Arsenal fan, because she plays for Chelsea, I don't love that. But she seems to be playing better for the U.S. Women's National Team than she does for Chelsea. So maybe Sonia's just not using her right, or she doesn't fit into that system in the same way that she fits into the Emma Hayes U.S. Women's National Team system. Whatever it is, Kat Macario has been directly involved in 18 goals in her last 15 U.S. Women's National Team games, with 12 goals and 6 assists. So that's crazy. She had 8 goals just this year alone, which is the most of any year for her. And she finished as the U.S. Women's National Team's top goal scorer for the year. Alyssa Thompson and Jaden Shaw both got meaningful minutes and really made strong impacts on the field, both looking really great. Jaden Shaw scored a goal in the second game. And did Alyssa score in the first game? Now I can't remember. I was trying to wing that. I don't know if that actually happened, but they both looked great. Really exciting. And I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens when if and when Triple Espresso is like healthy and available again, because the U.S. Women's National Team attack looks so dangerous without them. And so to imagine these people just getting like dropped sounds insane. But like maybe they will. Who knows? It's a really good problem to have, and I can't wait. Okay, so that's enough about the U.S. Women's National Team. We are going to go talk about two other games, well, two other teams. So England played China at Wembley, their first friendly of this international window, and beat them 8-0. And it seems like England fans were like mad that they won by so much and that it wasn't this sort of like tight game. And they were seeming to be like saying that that game was a waste of time. Multiple of the girls got asked like on the pitch and in the mix zone, like, what could you have possibly learned from this game? Like you won 8-0 was kind of like the vibe of the questions. But sometimes it's really good for team morale to just win by a lot, especially when it's weird to say that they've had like a rocky year, but like they lost to France, they lost to Spain. Like they've had some losses to some really strong teams. They did win the Euros, of course, but like sometimes it's just good to like batter a team. It's good for team morale. And traditionally, China isn't a bad team. Like they're reigning Asian Cup champions. So like I don't know. I don't think it was expected to be 8-0. I would have expected like 3-ish nil probably. Um, but it's also super rare for European teams, like I already talked about, to even have a friendly. So sometimes a good battering is just like what you need. Beth Mead had 2 goals within 2 minutes of each other. I love this for her. She seems to get a lot of hate online, or people talk really negatively about her online from both not only English fans, but like also Arsenal fans. And people like accuse her of being like washed or whatever, not good enough. That could not be further from the truth, in my opinion. You can tell when Beth's on the field and when she's not. Her work rate is 10 out of 10. Her skills undeniable. Her like defensive presence is also just phenomenal. I just think so highly of her. She's one of my favorite players of all time. So I don't get it. She's great, in my opinion. Georgia Stanway had a hat trick at Wembley. She is only the third lioness to score a hat trick at Wembley, so that was really cute and exciting. And her talking about it is cute. She's like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting it, but my whole family's here, and so that's really exciting." And then she like posted a picture, and it was like her extended family was all there, so that was really cute. And then there were a couple of debuts over this camp for them, for England, one of which being Anna Morehouse. And she had a really special interview in which she said, like, I have been waiting and not like really calling myself a lioness. I mean, she went to the Euros. She was on the Euro squad, but she hadn't gotten a cap yet. She was like, I was kind of waiting until I actually got minutes to like call myself a lioness, but now I'm like really a lioness, which I would argue she already was one before, but I really love that for her that she feels like solidified in this. And then she actually played the whole second game too, in which England played Ghana and beat them 2-0 with goals from Lucia Kendall and then a penalty from Alessia Russo. Honestly, props to Ghana. I think they played quite well. I also think that there was like saran wrap or something over England's goal because they had so many chances that like hit the crossbar or had some sort of like freak save or stop. Like it was actually insane. It seemed impossible for the ball to go into the back of the net. But Lucia Kendall's goal celebration was so cute. It was early on in the game, like I think within 10 or 12 minutes or something. She scored. It was a cross from Chloe Kelly that came in. It like deflected off a Ghanaian player's leg and accidentally went like right back into the center of the box. And then Lucia Kendall just like tapped it home. So special. She is a player whose childhood club was Southampton. That's where they were playing tonight in the big stadium. And so she like scored the goal, sprinted over to the quarter flag, did this like huge knee slide, and then got up and all the girls were like just hugging her so big. It was her first England goal at Southampton, like so special. And then she like leaned over to like fix her shin pads and socks because they had like slid down from the knee slide. And she was like crying. It was so sweet. And I was just so, so happy for her. Overall, I think this window was really successful for England. They got some good minutes for players who don't always get good minutes. And I think that's really positive. Also, had some really positive performances from a lot of people. Alessia Russo wore the armband at Wembley for like 10 minutes. That got passed around quite a bit. Leah Williamson is out still. So Kira Walsh had the armband to start. Then it got passed to Lucy Bronze, and Lucy Bronze subbed off and it went to Alessia Russo. Then Alessia Russo got subbed off and it went to Georgia Stanway. That was all in the first game. In the second game, I believe Kira stayed on the whole game, so it didn't get passed around. But that was the first time Alessia has ever worn the armband. So that was really cute and special. Overall, I think it was really positive. Unfortunately, Chloe Kelly did go off injured in like the 22nd-ish minute. She's had this like lingering knee thing. And Serena, after the game, somebody asked her about it and she said, Chloe Kelly said that something like didn't feel right. And so we took her off and it'll need further assessment. They're not sure what's going on. She did walk off. She wasn't like crying or anything. It didn't look or appear to be any sort of like catastrophic injury. I hope, knock on wood, but we'll just kind of see more on that to come. Hopefully, and hopefully that is she's back in training and everything's fine. Okay, last games I want to talk about is the Nations League final. Spain played Germany in a two-legged final. First game was in Germany and they tied 0-0. Both teams had chances, honestly, and they just like weren't able to convert. I sort of felt like Germany had more chances in that game, but it was pretty even. There was like all this conversation that they were asking the players about, like, should this be a two-leg final? I saw a lot of it with Alexi Putellas, like, is it annoying that it's a two-leg final? She was like, no, I like it. You get to play at both people's homes. I don't think that'll change anytime soon. A, because it's an international window and you play two games in an international window. So it's helpful if you can just like not have it would be weird to have the championship the first game of the window because then you couldn't really celebrate because you have to like be ready to play in a few days. But also it would be weird to have like a different game against a different opponent as like a friendly and then to play the championship game, the second game. I don't know. I think the two-leg final makes sense just based on the logistics of what's going on. But that ended up 0-0. So they're all like, well, it's essentially a one-leg final anyways because it was 0-0. So it's like nothing even happened. But the second game was in Madrid and Spain beat Germany 3-0. And they didn't score a goal until like the 60th-ish minute. Like it was into the second half. Claudia Pina scored the first goal. And then Vicky Lopez, I think, scored the second goal. Gorgeous. It was a screamer from just inside the box. She like took it, shimmied it onto her left foot, and it was really pretty. The Germany defenders just gave her too much space. You cannot give her space. Just inside the top of the box. She loves to shoot from range. Even I know that. Just unfortunate. I think Germany just got tired. I actually couldn't watch this game. I've watched some of the highlights, not even all of the highlights. I've had a crazy work day trying to watch these games, trying to get this podcast recorded and hopefully edited and uploaded in time. But I did see her goal and it was gorgeous. Her celebration was really fun. And there was this really cute moment between her and Alexia Putellas. So there was like the team celebration, and then Vicky stayed down and celebrated with the fans a little bit, and Alexia was like running back with the rest of the girls. Then she like turned around and was like walking back slash kind of waiting for Vicky Lopez. And then she seemed to like indicate to her that she wanted to like do something with her. And then they did this clearly pre-prepared celebration in which they did like a little dance each direction, and then they like jumped up and high-fived, and it was so cute. And I think it's just so fun to see. I think I've talked about this before, to see somebody like Alexia Putellas who just like has so much aura and power and just feels so like serious to me and intimidating and all of these things, have this like fun and silly moment with, it's like a 31-year-old. Alexia's 31, Vicky Lopez is like 19. Like, just to see these like intergenerational moments, like it's just, I love it. I loved that moment. So special for them. And to like be Vicky Lopez and be 19 and be playing on a team with Alexia Putellas, one of the greatest of all time. And just, anyways, I love it. I could talk about that for forever. And then the third goal was an absolutely gorgeous strike from Claudia Pina from just outside of the box with the assist from Mariana Caldente. This was funny because Mariana was like in the box, and then she turned and passed it to Claudia Pina, a close pass, as Spain often does. And then she wanted Claudia to shoot, and Claudia knew that, and it was like the perfect spot for her to shoot from. But Mariana was like between her and the goal. So goal is here, back here, then German player, then Mariona, then she passed it to Claudia Pina. So there's like a German girl and Mariona in between the ball and Claudia Pina shooting and the goal. And Mariona just like dove like around the German player, like onto the ground to like get out of the way so she wouldn't get pelted by the shot. And so hopefully it could go in. Also, in doing so, in like making that pass, there's no way Ann-Katrin Berger, the German goalie, could have seen what was happening. So it left her like blindsided. There was nothing she could do. It was gorgeous. And it was like a low, actually, Ann got a hand on it. Normally you would think it would be like a upper corner, but it wasn't. It bounced like right at where the goalie is, which is just so hard for a goalie to defend. And so that was just gorgeous. And then, of course, there were all kinds of cute celebrations because this was the Nations League final. Claudia Pino was the player of the match for this leg of the final. Alexia Putellas was the MVP for the like whole final for the two legs. And when she got that trophy, she was like walking back to her team, and they all did her like famous bow to her. And she got like embarrassed and just like ran over to them with like an embarrassed little smile on her face. It was so cute. And then they were all like celebrating together. So that was really cute. And then there were tons of like funny things in the locker room. There's a really funny video of Anna Battier that I just love. And then I guess one of the girls who I don't know and I guess don't follow on social media went live on Instagram, like from the locker room. And Alexia is in a lot of that. And again, it's just so fun to see her being like silly. There's a really cute video. You know how they always do like pictures. There's like a professional photographer in there from probably UEFA, taking pictures of the girls like with the trophy, like different individuals, pairings, whatever. There was Catacoy, the Spanish goalie, and Claudia Pina taking it together. Claudia Pina was holding the trophy, and then Catacoy had like a bottle of champagne, and she like shook it and was like spraying it everywhere. Like, I just love that stuff so much. And I hope they celebrate big. And part of me was like, it's like Nations League, like it doesn't actually mean anything, but like it's another trophy, and I love an excuse to celebrate. And so, you know what? I hope they celebrate like they won the World Cup, because their World Cup celebration got taken away from them and all of that. So I just hope they celebrate everything so big. Speaking of that kind of like toxicity of Spain previously, one of my favorite things that I saw was they seemed to be so happy and genuinely celebrating with their coach. Like when Alexia subbed off and Claudia Pina subbed off, they both, I think it was Claudia Pina, definitely Alexia, they both like smiled big and like hugged their head coach. I haven't seen stuff like that coming out of Spain for a hot minute, which is correct. Like, it was so toxic. There was sexual assault. Like, this is the Spanish. I can't even like get started on that. But with this new coach, like Mappy Leon is back in the team, and there just seems to be so much like joy and positivity and not this like toxic sort of situation left over from the like World Cup regime. And then the coach that got put in after that was like still part of that regime, at least at the very least tangentially, if not actually. And so now they have a new coach, and it just seems like the girls are happy and having fun and like genuinely happy with that coach. And so I hope that's true, and I hope that continues to be the case because that was really, really exciting. Okay. Unfortunately, we do have some injuries to talk about. I haven't done like a major injury check-in report in a minute. Of course, there have been lots. It's the middle of the season. Lots of things have happened. But I do want to talk about some of the major ones that I probably have mentioned, but I'm just going to bring them back up here and we're going to kind of go through this. So first one, Michelle Adjumang of England and Arsenal. She was on loan with Brighton, but she's Arsenal through and through. She tore her ACL in the October international window while she was playing for England. So that's devastating for her. Katie Reed, also of Arsenal and England, tore her ACL during training with Arsenal in October. She had gotten her first call up to the England senior squad. She's been in the youth age groups all the way through. She got called up to the senior squad, had to pull out because of some other like minor groin injury or something. And then like a couple of weeks later, tore her ACL. Awful. Manu Zinsberger, I think I talked about this, the Arsenal goalkeeper, also tore ACL. So there are 3 Arsenal players within like a couple of weeks of each other in their recovery process, which is awful. And they all get to be together to like go through this. So I think that's a little bit positive from that perspective. Then we have a lot of Spain and Barca injuries, which I'm very sad to see, and I was worried that this would happen, and I hate to be right about it, and I hate that it sounds like I'm bragging that I was right because that's annoying. Patrick Guijarro of Spain and Barca has a stress fracture in her right foot, so she'll be out a total of 3 months, roughly, is what they're expecting. It's already probably been about a month that she's been out. Salma Periuelo, also of Spain and Barcelona, has a partial tear of her MCL, is what I saw online. But then I saw something today that said she's only going to be out for a couple of weeks. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. There's a knee MCL situation, but she might not have like needed surgery to repair it. I'm not exactly sure. Esme Broekst, who plays for Barca and also the Netherlands, during a Barca game, left the pitch on a stretcher and like golf cart with what appears to be a leg injury. This was on like November 15th-ish. We haven't heard an update, so I don't know what is going on there, but that's not good. Then over this past international window, Kika Nasre, Barca and Portugal is who she plays for, had to leave the pitch early on in a game against Switzerland due to injury. We weren't sure what it was exactly. Turns out it is an ankle sprain that they think will only have her sidelined for like 3 weeks, which is a relief because she left the pitch like crying, and there was certainly fear of something much worse. She had broken her foot, I think, earlier in the year. And so she was like sort of just getting back to like full health at the Euros and that kind of stuff. So for her to be out injured again is awful. It's awful for everyone, but God, I feel for these poor women when it's like back-to-back injuries. Another really, really sad one. They're all really sad. I don't even know. Another one, Aitana Bonmati, 3-time Ballon d'Or winner, current holder of the Ballon d'Or, has been, I guess, for 3 years, plays for Spain and Barcelona, broke her fibula near the ankle during practice with Spain. She went back to Barcelona on Monday to get imaging, found out that she needed surgery, had surgery on Tuesday, December 2nd, and is expected to be out for roughly 5 months, is what they say. So that's basically like the whole rest of the season. She did post about it on her own Instagram, and she said something to the effect of like, I could feel that I needed to take a break and I didn't. And now look what's my body has. I felt like I needed to put on the brakes. I didn't. I kept playing and my body has told me no. I think that's really an interesting thing to think about. She's not the first player who has said that kind of thing when they end up with a major injury. And so I think continuing to prioritize player mental health and physical health, because they're tied together, like they're not mutually exclusive at all. In fact, they rely on one another. I think that's really important. So wishing her a very, very speedy recovery. Alex Greenwood of England and Man City has been out for weeks with an unknown injury. Believe it's some sort of leg injury. I don't even know that we know that for sure, but we haven't really gotten any update on that. Hannah Hampton of England and Chelsea suffered a knee injury in Chelsea's game against Arsenal. And I think they said at that time she's expected to be out until January, like through Christmas. And then Kim Little of Arsenal has been out for a couple of weeks already with what I believe is a foot injury. And there has been no timeline shared of her expected return. There is some good news. So I know I talked about this previously, but Sam Kerr is back playing soccer for Australia and Chelsea and is fit enough to be like starting and playing like meaningful minutes, if not full 90s now. So that's really exciting. Lauren Hemp is back with England and Man City following her sort of lower leg injury. I believe it was a calf injury, but I think they were just calling it lower leg. Leo Williamson, the captain of England and also one of the captains of Arsenal, is back in team training and is anticipated to be back in this block of games, this December block, as last updated by Renee Slagers. So this block is less tough than their previous blocks had been, but everything is sort of a must-win game for Arsenal right now. So we'll see. I hope that she takes the proper amount of time that she needs and doesn't feel rushed to come back. Lauren James of England and Chelsea is back playing with Chelsea. She's gotten a few minutes, but she wasn't quite fit enough to be ready for England camp. So she stayed with Chelsea or took some time off or whatever there. Naomi Girma is back and healthy and starting games for the U.S. Women's National Team. And Chelsea, she played a full 90 with Chelsea, then another full 90 with the U.S. Women's National Team. So I am absolutely thrilled as a U.S. Women's National Team and Naomi Girma fan. I am not so happy as an Arsenal fan, but that's okay because as a U.S. Women's National Team fan, I'm happy enough that it doesn't even matter. And then the other person who we got a little bit of an update on is Danielle Vandendonk of London City Lionesses and the Netherlands. She is back running. She hasn't run since like before the Euros or maybe at the Euros. So there's not like a clear timeline for her like return to play, but she hadn't even been able to run and now she's running. So that's really exciting. So we're getting some positive movement forward there for her. But that's all I have to say today. Crazy thing for me to say after babbling on for so long, but there were just so many exciting things going. I had to talk about it. So I hope everybody has had a great week. I hope you continue to have a great week. Please, if you don't mind, like, subscribe, comment on Spotify and YouTube. I am also on Instagram and TikTok as our home ground. I always put it in the end of show situation so you can find us there. If you just search our home ground, we come right up. Yeah, so I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything that you wish I would have talked about or if I missed any big moments or what your favorite moments were from any of these finals or games. And I'll be back next time. Have a good one.